Yeah, but this is Scoots running through why people support the show. And maybe you're maybe you're similar to this person, right? So put yourself in their shoes, because maybe you're the person I'm counting on tonight. The show's counting on. And you're saying, yeah, I think Scooter has been trying to get through to me. I've been putting off supporting the show for a few years, but maybe I am the one. Because I remember what my bedtime was like, what the deep, dark night was like before Sleep With Me. I'll never forget what my bedtime was like before this show. And I don't want to go back there. It's finally sunk in that this show needs people like me to support the show back to exist. If I don't support the show or someone else doesn't support it for me, the podcast will be gone. So I'm going to go right now to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus and sign up and support the show. So I don't have to worry about that. And as soon as they do, I'll set up the bonus content later, but I'll support the show right now in this moment. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And then they feel this relief. Now I don't got to worry about it. Now I got access to all this great bonus content, ad-free episodes, story-only episodes. But my $60, my $120, my $7 a month has changed the entire future of the podcast for me and everybody else. Wow, that's relieving. So thank you to all the people that do that. And thank you for considering it tonight.
This show is supported by Blue Land. We hear a lot about microplastics in oceans and food, but they can also come from products we use every day at home, including cleaning products. Blue Land is on a mission to make it easy for everyone to make sustainable choices. Blue Land believes that hardworking, clean products can be the norm, not the exception, so that you can do better for your family and the planet at the same time. From cleaning sprays and toilet bowl cleaner to dishwasher and laundry detergent tablets, Blue Land's products are independently tested to perform alongside major brands, and the formulas are free from dyes, parabens, and harsh chemicals. You'll love not having to choose between the safe option and what actually gets your house clean. Blue Land is a certified B Corp and Leaping Bunny cruelty-free certified. Their formulas are EPA's Safer Choice certified, and many products have also earned Cradle to Cradle's Gold Material Health Certificate. If you're looking to make a small change in your routine, you can get 15% off your first order at blueland.com/prx. Get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/prx. blueland.com/prx.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster that, like I say, like multiplex, complex. What about, like a noplex? I don't know what plex stands for. Usually during the very beginning of the podcast, I shouldn't look up words, but I don't know. What's that called at the end of a word? Plex meaning? I don't know. What's that called? Plex meaning. It's combined form, meaning having parts or units. Complex. Many parts, maybe? I don't know. Multiplex, multiple parts, having parts or units. A simplex would be, what are the meanings of plex? A figure, a of given power. So in math, let's see here. Aren't you supposed to be starting to sleep? I guess I am. So yeah, you're right. Welcome to Sleep With Me. You say, holy moly, like you probably aren't saying that, but maybe you're saying, like, if you sleep with Beethoven, you might be saying roll over Beethoven, but not like that, right? Because there was movies, I don't know, was that the 90s? There was a giant dog named Beethoven, and I don't know if that was the pitch. They said, what if you had to share your bed with a giant dog named Beethoven, and you say roll over Beethoven? So, not as big as Clifford. Great question. Not as big as Clifford the Big Red Dog, who was an imaginary giant red dog. Also a star of many films and TV shows, I believe. Beethoven was realistically sized. No CGI that I know of. I don't know. Was that the movie with that actor whose name, as soon as I was starting to say it, escaped me? Probably. It could be. That's embarrassing. But you know what's more embarrassing is I'm supposed to be introduced to the Sleep Podcast. If you're new, welcome. This is the show that's always going off topic. It's called Sleep With Me. It's a podcast to keep you company while you fall asleep. Almost had it, Charles We'll come back to it. I know. Nope. I know the words that rhyme with his last name. So I'll get there during the intro. But this is a podcast that's here to be a friend in the deep, dark nights so you could fall asleep, to keep you company while you drift off. It is very different. You've already seen that. So just give it a few tries, see how it goes. We've got support coming up. That's how you get to listen free if you want. There's a long, meandering intro separate from the support where I help ease you into bedtime, or as you can listen as you're getting ready for bed or getting comfortable. Then there'll be a bedtime story. Believe it or not, it won't be until 20, 30 minutes into the show. But that's how the podcast is designed. So just see how it goes at first. It is, like I said, it's a bit different. Most regular listeners, I would dare say super fans, snoozer fans, I don't know, nodders is what a lot of, but so they, most of them said, hey, I didn't realize, like, it took me 2 or 3 tries to realize to not loathe the show. So you're in good company. If you already loathe me, you're in good company. But you could also have a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you, just in case, like, it has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there. So welcome to Sleep With Me. I'm so glad you're here. This is a podcast that puts you to sleep. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for free twice a week. All right, everybody, Scoots here. This is our episodically modular series, Multiplex. It is, I think the main character will fill you in on everything you need to know because they're telling, I'll let them tell their own story. But this is episodically modular. I believe this is episode 4. But you can listen to this in any order because the main character, whose name eludes me, Wyatt, will catch us up on everything. So then episode 1, 2, and 3 are kind of like prequels. You say, oh, wow, those came out after episode 4? Kind of like, oh, those other movies. Or sometimes now they just call it whatever the title. And then, you'd say, whatever. So you could listen to them in any order. These are meant to put you to sleep. That's what episodically modular is, kind of say, hey, you could listen to it in any order. If you do want to listen to it in order, that's fine too. And we could even pretend this is really the 4th episode. It's the best place to start. You know what I mean? I'm just here to keep you company and to keep you, to put you at ease. Now, this has been a week of Antonio discussions. Holy no Antonio. I feel like I should go to San Antonio with Antonio. Because his name came up, listeners were asking, how long has Antonio worked for the show? When was the first time he worked for the podcast? And I'm laughing because I had no idea, and I still have no idea, even the year. And I know he won't tell me because he's so generous and kind that he just smiles, like he's just smiling right now. He knows. Because he would say, if he was me, he'd say, only feels like 50 years, though, Scooter. It hasn't felt like a day over 1,000 years. It's been Sisyphean, my work with you. Those are the kind of things he's really laughing. But yeah, people asked about that. I didn't have the answer. I just said, I did honestly answer what a pleasure it is and how much Antonio gives, how little he receives, but he doesn't believe that. He really believes he receives a lot by giving. That's why he's so happy. That's why he's exuding joy. But also Stephen loved that when my mind was blown when I saw you on the challenge. One of the great product placement moments of my entire existence. And, I was glad I wasn't the only one that got a kick out of it. So I don't know I don't know if that is synergy, because I don't think it was the same companies, but synergistic maybe. It was synergy in some sense because, I don't know, made me feel like pure synergy, like not like that song, but not that song. I wonder if this is a deep cut, but who's that? Michael Eisner, because I think that song probably came out in the same time. Michael Eisner probably mistakenly is known for like using the term synergy. Like, did Michael Eisner ever dance in his office to the song Pure Energy, singing Pure Synergy? That would be a thing. Pure synergy. Okay, so I was trying to set up the fact that Mr. Antonio Banderas, our Hollywood announcer's here to announce the series now. So, friends beyond the binary, the ladies, the gentlemen, the boys, the girls, it's time to multiplex. Swish, click, movie sounds. Yeah. Thanks, Antonio. That was good. First time I'll say it was good for a first try. Even though this is the fourth, it was good. You're trying. I'm happy you're comfortable to try out new things in the beginning, even when, usually you've just set the bar so high that that was a swing and a miss. I'll be honest. But I'm going to leave it in because and don't no like I'm not fake praising you. I'm praising you for continuing to try. That was just. I understand what you were going for, but how could you achieve it, right? So you were striving beyond, I think, any capacity, like to make a movie projection sound in a sleepy way while you were improving, not achievable. So it's not like you just didn't meet your impossibly high my impossibly high standards for your free work on this podcast for free. In your spare time, which only takes about 24 hours of your spare time. What a hobby you have. Some people say that, I know we got to close this up, but but you do get, I realize now that me making you laugh might be part of it, huh? He shrugged. Oh boy. Okay. You got me back there. Wow. My ego was just kept in check by Mr. Antonio Banderas because I said, maybe me making you laugh, is what makes it worth it for you to drive all the way from Los Angeles to my driveway, wait for me to allow you to come in, deal with all my specific instructions, maybe go back out to your car for a while if I need to think or something. Antonio, I got to do some pacing, so prefer if you're not around, like, can you just sit in your car? I got to do some pacing. Oh, sure. And then, record for a few minutes, then be silent for a while. Then maybe we play a board game. Toppling Towers is what's on the schedule for today. Then drive all the way back home. And then I know it does take, then you need some rest. So, wow. For the love of sleep, eh? Okay, that's Mr. Antonio Banderas, and this is Multiplex episode 4. Thanks, everybody. Evening, everybody. This is Wyatt. Here recording this story. I don't know where you're hearing this in what context, but this is an amazing story. Instead of an ordinary adventure that turns amazing, it's an amazing adventure to be ordinary. That's why I wanted to tell the story, because people thought that some of the extraordinary things I did, even to a small audience with my public access show, that gained fame and some of them that, I don't know. I want to just talk about how high flyers could become plain, if that's even possible. But it is, to go on an amazing adventure, to be one among many. That's what drove me to tell this tale. Also, the fact that people said, how'd you get that interview? Like, who is the performer? And I said, oh, it's all real, man. All real. That's what I'm telling you now. So I have two friends, Josie and Santos, and a fourth friend, a third friend that makes four of us, a corncob kid, Boyd. Now, Boyd became a member of our quartet, or whatever they would say, whatever Roland would call it, our group, Boyd, the corncob kid, myself, Santos, and Josie. Now, we had started this adventure that, at this point, when I'm telling you, it's kind of like now, in the time I'm recording, this is a pretty normal thing to go on an interactive, interpersonal adventure, whether it's a room you got to get out of or some sort of immersive theater. But this was back when we were kids, when this thing wasn't really a normal thing. And, but we thought at the time that we were a part of something like that because we had gone into a mall that had been closed for a while in search of Julius J. Juice concentrate. The mall had been closed. The corncob kid Boyd had discovered a cache of concentrated Dr. Julius J. Juice, the juice place that used to be in the mall where people would go and get a juice. I don't know. I never had one, I don't think, but it was like, I always think it was milk and orange juice mixed together, but Boyd said it wasn't and that it tasted good. But our thought was, Boyd could sell it on what would one day become the internet. This time it was just bulletin boards online. But that that we could sell the concentrate and that legally, morally, ethically, it was fine because the store had been closed. The mall had been closed. Both companies were out of business, that this was abandoned, like refuse. But because it was canned, it was also good to sell. And so we tried to sneak into the mall and get the Julius J. Juice concentrate, which would have enabled me, I think, to go to school at a pretty high, well-known university because I didn't get the scholarship I had anticipated I was going to get. But we didn't want, also Santos and Josie also had scholarships and they didn't want to, we were trying to, dodge any trouble. Then we got in the mall and we found that the World of Cutlery, or Land of Cutlery, whatever it's called, the person working there needed help, and they needed help getting back an item that had been taken from the store. And we're more than happy to do that. But that's when things got interesting. Because one, what's somebody doing working at Cutlery, the World of Cutlery, when the mall's been closed for a long time, right? That doesn't make any sense. But we kind of went with it. We also got a couple of cool things, a couple of utility items and a couple of samurai swords. And because we returned the implement, like a high-end, I don't know, we never asked if it was like a ceramic or carbon or a conundrum or something. It was a conundrum. But they had the being that had it, the puppet, is what we thought, or an animatronic, a mobile animatronic, mobile puppet, I don't know, robot. It was shaped to look like something wrapped in ace bandages that had been aged, right, or paper mache, like toilet paper. Someone who like would be called a mommy, but not quite a mommy. Maybe they would be on display, but this was more filmic. It wasn't like historical. Doesn't make any sense, does it, Boyd? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. That's why we said, this is part of some sort of immersive theater. That's why the store's on, somebody's work, human being was working. That's why this thing is talking and making noise. We finally caught up with it at Hickory Dickory Dock Farms, where, it was in a cooler. And I think that's where we left off. This thing, we returned the things to Cutlery World, and this puppet said it needed our help. And that's when we were like, okay, this has got to be some sort of quest, right? And we said, okay, that makes sense. It's a quest, like some sort of theater quest that people pay a lot of money to go for. Maybe they're just doing testing. Might as well lean into it, right? Maybe we'll get the Julius J. Juice, which we still needed to do, the concentrate, get that back to the truck, sell it, but whatever. So what we had done is like scooped this puppet up, or it was not a puppet because it was moving. So it was a remote-controlled animatronic. That's kind of where we left off. And we had it in a painter's tarp, and we were carrying around. It said we needed its help. And I'm not sure exactly what, like I told you last, but, we said, usually when we go to the when this mall was open and we go to the movies at this mall, we would go to the store that sells all types of things, including candy and soda. as well as RX type things, or Band-Aids or Vaseline or, whatever, shampoo. So we went there first. And the first thing the corncob kid did, once we got into ended up the gate to that store was open. It was Phase, it was called, not with a PH, though. And it was Phase, and that's where, so we went in there. The gate was open. I mean, it was unlocked. We raised it up. The first thing Boyd noted, though, was that this store was already in a stage of being, wasn't pristine, but it wasn't destroyed, right? They had decided to close the store. So some things were packed up and some weren't. But right in the entrance was a pallet jack with a pallet with a cardboard box on it. And Boyd said, that's perfect. We could stack the juice on here. And then we said, well, we could put mommy. We could put her on there. It was a female mommy. And so we did that. And we said, okay, perfect. This will make it easy to move around the mall. We'll go get the juice. And we tried to find Ace bandages, right? And we couldn't locate Ace bandages. We couldn't locate anything. Everything had been packed. A lot of stuff had been packed up and put away or sent off to another Phase before they closed down. So I guess you could say the plus was we got the pallet jack and a way to transport mommy. The downside was, because our goal here was to I think one of the things we were told is that, hey, if you have to help me put me back together, a bit like Humpty Dumpty, but due to deterioration, she had started to fall apart. So we had one piece, like from a display of anatomical parts. And we also had a dried out summer sausage that happened to be about 3 or 4 feet long. I don't know how long. Normal size of, not good with distance, 2 feet, which were two of the things that were missing from this. Because again, we're looking at this like you have to solve this. This is a puzzle or mystery. You have to solve piece by piece, a bit like a video game. So we started, and we were all in on this, right? As long as we could get the Julius J. juice, which Josie happened to say, wait a second, we're going to need something to also these things are interlocked. We could use cups to interlock, like in the joint areas. Because I think we were going to, the only other idea was, what are those things called? Pipe cleaners. Maybe we needed both, which would be easy because back at this time, there was always a pipe store at the mall too. But cups, and then Boyd said, we'll get the cups at Julius J. Juice. So that was great. We said, okay, we still need something like an Ace bandage, which you wrap around, or stronger than toilet paper. Obviously, toilet paper's not going to work. And Santos said, the sock store. What about yarn socks from the sock store? Socks and scissors. We'll get some scissors. And then I said, I got scissors on my utility device. Or maybe Boyd did. I don't know. So we could, and then we said, wait a second, the sock store's on the way to Julius J. Juice. So we'll get the socks. Great idea. Then we'll get some cups. We'll also load up the pallet jack full of Julius J. Juice. And we were doing a lot of talking. Now the mommy wasn't saying anything. Obviously, figured they got to conserve the batteries. It's just a part of a puzzle. Probably has a limited, I don't know how they even did memory back then for these animatronic robots or whatever. Okay, so we go to the sock store. Now, you might be listening to this not believing, because there are. What do they call them nowadays? Novelty socks. This was different. You could get some novelty socks at this shop, but this is a real sock store. So you could get yarn socks made from, different wool socks, yarn socks, fancy socks, argyle socks. Also sock puppets, other sock-related items. Right next to a hat, there was more than one hat store, and I'm like baseball hat store. This one was called Caps, next door to the sock shop. The sock hop, sock hopping around. I don't know. Sock hop, I think it was called. And there's even a diner in the mall, believe it or not, too. Okay, so we grabbed a bunch of socks and we started cutting them into tubes, and actually Josie and Santos kind of took over, and they said, this is going to be perfect. We just need a couple cups. We're not even going to need pipe cleaners because the socks are so thick, and we'll put them around the cups, put around the summer sausage or the piece of anatomically correct display. So we headed to Julius J. Juice and division of work. So Boyd and I started, we removed the cardboard box with Mommy in there, and then we started loading up containers of concentrated Julius J. Juice. And as Boyd said, these were already boxed up, ready to go. And we stacked, we know we weren't able to take all of it, but we stacked it pretty high, tested it out that we could move it. Meanwhile, Boyd and Josie were working on the mommy, and mommy had been silent the whole time, maybe in some battery saving rest mode. We didn't know at this, but we were figuring this again was a puzzle. And part of us, and sure, we debated a lot of the stuff. Of course, there was dissent. Let's not get the juice. Let's get this over. What if the people watching the game, but the juice was too, the juice concentrate in the end was too valuable. And I couldn't say no. And again, because it wasn't taking, it was there for free, just left behind and forgotten, salvageable, that I felt comfortable and said, no, we can take this and we could debate it. Also, we already have the person that works at the World of Cutlery. We're helping this thing, or helping them we're doing our best. So we loaded up the Julius J. Juice. When we came out, it was pretty hilarious what Josie and Santos had done, because then you had something that before that looked like a leftover prop from a natural history museum section, or a modern day display, a seasonal display, autumnal seasonal display, but that had been left out too long and it started falling apart. But they had reassembled it, so it actually looked a bit like a sock, because the socks weren't all, mildewy or whatever. They were new socks. So it was like a giant sock being, or nowadays you see this where people put yarn on stuff, like on parking meters or poles, or I don't know what they call that, knit IRL, like knitting in real life, or crochet. I don't know which one it is, but it was funny. So you had something that looked like now a person basically wearing a multiple different socks of many different colors, and like a large sock puppet, multicolored person size, with a couple of anatomical pieces hanging out in places. So we said, and we were like, were you really careful? Because it probably has motor. And they said, we didn't even see any motors or anything. Maybe I don't know. So we start moving, right? But then we don't know where we're going. And so we pause in the mall, and we like a little bit of time went by. And we're listening, right? And we did hear something far away, but we couldn't quite pin down what it was. So we decided to head in that direction. in the direction of the sound. So we start heading but we'd have to stop moving, right? And it was a consistent murmuring sound. And again, like something we would associate with if this was some sort of puzzle, maybe that's the next thing in the puzzle. But after we stopped a couple times, and we were pretty sure we're headed in the right direction, suddenly there became a flurry of activity from our sock mommy. And the sock mommy reactivated and said, started talking, my cat, where's my cat? Where's my cat? And we stopped and we looked at one another. We even went back. We said, hold on, we'll check. We checked Hickory Dickory Dock Farms. No cat there. There was no cat in the restroom where we've been following the sock mommy. No cat. We said, we don't know. What do you mean? I need my cat. I need my cat. Can't go home without my cat. That's what the sock said. It's a puzzle, right? What if this is like, we're a really good team. We all had different skills. In fact, if this was what we thought it was, that we were the perfect people to test it out, because it didn't take long to be like, well, if we were supposed to go to the sock place, there's sock puppets, so there's a sock cat in there. So we grabbed the sock cat. We tucked the sock cat in the arms of the animatronic sock mommy. We said, there's your cat. Don't worry, there's your cat. And we were right. So it was, good. And I said, well, by the way, now that you're up, where's home? And there's a long backstory here, which I'll try to summarize because it's incredibly convoluted, because it wasn't based on real history. It was based on fiction. But it was this basically the backstory of this sock mommy was that she was a sorceress. She was from the Valley of the Sorceress. This was a long time ago in the region known as Egypt, right? The fictional one. I mean, within Egypt-based, mommy-based fiction. Now, her story was that she was incredibly powerful. She was a leader. She was a queen. And she had ruled the land in fairness and kindness, but with power. And we said, well, where's your, we tried to get her to get to the point. Didn't happen. So then she went on, like, trying to think of the shortest way to explain it. Learned all of this magic back then. I mean, again, this is fiction, right? There was magic and power. Some people liked her, but, the people that had the most, because she kind of tried to even things back out, they didn't like her, right? And the people that had fiefdoms of power before she came into power, that maybe lost those fiefdoms, they didn't like her. She loved her cat. Obviously, that's part of the story, because we had to find a cat. And at some point, her cat decided, or she seems to believe it wasn't the cat's choice, to go visit the place, the big litter box in the beyond. And she didn't like that because she said, this is my cat, this is my best friend. And, she said, I'm going to use some of these powers that I'm not supposed to use to say, hey, once my cat uses that big litter box in the beyond, come on back. And so she did that. Now, it's funny because we had heard, like, Boyd was like, I'm on, like, alt.starwars.fans, and there's this wild fan theory, absolutely most ridiculous thing, that was how the Vader of Night became, once was named, this kid named Anakin, a Jedi, and that's what, like, and we were like, yeah, that's not how you become the Vader of Night. It's not by... No, it's got to be different than that. But Boyd's like, yeah, it was on one of the news groups I read, whatever. But it's basically the story of, like, okay, but there's books about it too that are a little bit different. But so it's a little bit like the books. But so what happened was similar to the book. Once she brought her cat from the big litter box in the sky, all the cats came back. But the cats were, they weren't just looking for meow mix. And so there became this great, now remember, this is like a fictional story we were being told. But there became, the great debate about cats not eating, in her world. It became a big thing where it was the people, her people, had to renegotiate things with these cats and say, hey, let's get you back to the litter box and the beyond because you seem to want to stay here, but you're doing a lot of hissing. And that resolved, but it took a lot of work and resources and it gave the people that disagreed with her a chance to build up enough momentum to do what they wanted to do. Now, they really didn't like her because she was seriously beloved. And the short and long of it is basically they said, why don't you go with your cat to the big place where you can hang out forever and ever. And we're also going to make sure, because you got into this magic and all that stuff, we can't ever have that happen again. So we're going to make sure no one ever in the historical record, in this fictional record of historical record, you'll never be, we're going to make sure you and your magic don't ever get recorded. Which in the present, she was really unhappy about that because it was important to her because she said, I'm a time, I've done all this stuff. And she knew this was going to happen, but she couldn't prevent it from happening. And so she said, don't worry, if you do that to me, just like my cat, if you put me in a big litter box in the sky, I'm not a cat. And one day in long, long, long future, I'll plan for it and I'll come back and I'll teach you the moral of the story, and it won't be the moral of the story you expected. So that was her story. And we said again, okay, so where's home though? Because we got to get you home. And she said, I've come from your palace of learning. We're like, I never heard a store like that. Palace of like one of the bookstores. What does it look like with books? And, because again, we were trying to get clues from this clue-giving device, which is what we saw her as, like a robot or whatever. And they said, no. Okay. What do you mean palace of learning? Oh, maybe it's not for learning. Maybe it's for debate. Your fine rulers go there and, you said like a ruler shop? No, rulers like when they go and discuss your policies for the good of all your people. Like the post office closed though. It can't be the post office anyway. What does it look like? Oh, well, maybe it's for your entertainers. Like they come in like so like what is it? Well, I was crawling around. But it looks like you have these luxurious seating. Did you see anything else? And again, this is a fictional mommy. So this is why I said, oh, it's like in the Mixelblix. There was a lot of lights, noise. Mixelplex. So that was it. We're like, first we overthought it. We said, is that some sort of like, are those letters moved around? Mixelplex, learning, government, theater. Oh, it's a multiplex. And that's where the noise was coming from. The murmuring is coming from that direction. Okay, so we set forth towards a multiplex, right? And we're like, okay, maybe this is like, do you think this is where we win the contest? You think there's going to be rewards or food or snacks? We'll be able, now that we've figured out the puzzle, we'll be able to talk our way out of it, right? So we hear from the multiplex, right? We hear this noise coming from the inside, like a movie's playing, and the doors are open. Now, at this point, we were a little hesitant. Plus, we were all tired from taking turns pulling this pallet jack. So we pulled the pallet jack in next to the box office, and then just started carrying the cardboard box with her in it very gently. Because the last thing we want to do is be like, you messed up our prop for this whole thing. But man, we were like really excited. We were like, maybe we could be a part of this. Like, I wonder if this volunteers. And we thought that we'd go into a movie theater and there'd be applause and stuff because we found the end. But we went in to the movie theater. We heard the noise coming out of. We saw the light. Can't remember, theater 6 maybe. I don't know. No other people. No other, we were listening. Going to theater 6, there's a black and white movie playing. And we get to it, and it seems to be the movie she was talking, there was enough that it's pretty clear that this was a movie. And we got there, it's fairly close to the end. And this was the part where, so this was that was her backstory. So the movie takes place in a different, not our present day, but another present day, time, I don't know, England 1930, and I don't know, like a time of adventure in a fictional movie where they have discovered where she was waiting to be discovered, where they had said, while she'll rest here, while her spiritual essence is at the big cat bowl in the sky or whatever, drinking from saucers of milk. This is where we'll keep all her records sealed off from the world. That's what her rivals thought. But she knew one day, far in the future, people would come discover her, and that then she could return. I think there's a couple of things missing in her plan because actually in the movie, it doesn't work out for her. So she had a plan. One day, adventurers that predated Indiana Jones, but in the same vein, would discover her resting where she was supposed to rest. They would take all of her relics out, eventually work hard to uncover how it worked, including some of the magic, because she left clues. And we were like, are we supposed to be watching this movie for clues or not? And then she would return, and she had a couple different plans, and her cat would return. That was another part of her plan. But she would come back, ideally through, I think she was either going to come back in old-fashioned physical form, which was kind of like what she was doing right there. But once she did that, then she would go into how do I say this? So the main character in the movie is professor type, and then there's an adventurer type. And I know there's other movies, but this one, the professor type has a child, that's just a kid. And then I think her plan was, maybe I'll become an internal imaginary friend of the child. And then when the child grows up, then I'll be able to return and do everything I wanted to do, second chance, that movie Fabulous Friday, but a little bit different, but basically may or may not understand me because it was an older movie, right? But what happens is, of course, the professor and the adventurer figure that out. And in the movie, they also, with a vigorous group of townspeople, figure that out. And then they, they say, hey, let's have a campfire and not discuss this at all with you. And then you don't have, then you could, let's just have you, maybe your rivals are right. And you should just, maybe you're better off drinking milk at the cat farm in the sky. And that's how the movie ends. It does leave one end, where there's that there could have been more movies, which I think there were. And then the movie ended, but like after the credits, it started over again. Because we were kind of just waiting around for the most part. And I guess watching the movie. And then we said, okay, like you're home. The movie started again. Now, the one thing we noticed, or we didn't really notice it the first time, was that she wasn't in the movie, right? So the second time the movie starts playing, like, she said, you got to get me back home. So these two things are happening at the same time, but I'm talking about them separately. At some point, we noticed she was missing from the movie, right? So that was one of the lights that went on. Oh, she's supposed to be in the movie. She's not in the movie. I mean, but that also created confusion. It's like, how'd they do that? Then two, we were also talking to her. What do you mean? Like, how did you get here? And then she said, well, I just remember I was in my world. Then there was a bright light. Then I was in your world. So we said, oh, okay, we're going to get you back in the movie. And at first we were like, okay, like, what do we just do? Like we're tapping the movie screen, nothing. And then we said, well, why don't we just carry the box over and kind of like tip the box like against the movie and then see what happened. And we did that, and there was like this flash, right? Then she was in the movie, but the flash kind of happened like where we lost sense of time or something. I don't know, maybe. Or the movie skipped ahead. And then she was in the movie, and it ended like the same as the first time we watched the movie, but she was there. So then we're like, oh, she was in those scenes, but we didn't see her the first time. But then at the time where they said, we think you should return to the big cat farm in the sky, there was a flash, and then she's back. The box falls over. She's still there. She says, I want to go home. I thought you were going to help me get home. And, time was a little weird here because it feels like we were confused. But we were looking at this intensely, like the intensity we took to sports, to performance, to school, to education, or Boyd to being the corncob kid. We thought this was like a puzzle we needed to solve. So we also lost sense of time because we were immersed in figuring this out. And what happened was that we were watching the movie without her in it. Also, like, man, when is it? How long is it? How is this thing even powered? Like, what do they want us to do? Whoever's working on this thing, and we're just watching the movie, and then we were like, okay, let's try to find the perfect time to get her in the movie. Now, another thing we were never aware of up until this point was that. So we started trying again at different points in the movie, putting her in the movie. The same thing would happen. The movie would play out and end the same way. Okay, so we probably did that a few times, a few different moments in the movie, and it didn't work. But there was one thing that happened, because again, we were just, again, trying to figure this puzzle out. Maybe the movie was sped up. I don't remember. But at one point on the third or fourth try, we realized that the cat also, the whatever you call it, sock puppet cat also fell in the movie. And what happened was at the end of the movie, this was the only time the movie changed, was that the little girl, like right before everyone decided, hey, we're going to have you visit, return and all that, have a bonfire and yada, yada, yada. The little girl who was a part of all that, she gets distracted right before the scene because she sees the sock puppet cat. She takes the sock puppet cat in her arms, and she's petting the sock puppet cat and being nice to it. And then she says, she even says to everybody when they're all up in arms, can't we just be nice? Like, she's cute like my cat, but the people don't listen. So we said, wait a second, there's got to be something to this. And then we said, okay, what if we were walking back and forth, right? This is how we would solve these kind of problems, even if it was a math problem. Looking at it from every angle. And then we said, okay, well, remember her story. We said there must have been a reason she told us this long, drawn out story before we took her into the movie theater. So we said, okay, like, yeah, get more information from was she our primary source, whatever. Hey, like, okay, like, are you sure you really want, like, when you go back home, what if you don't decide that you're gonna, like, what if you just go home and rest? Well, no, because I need to teach them the moral of the story. That's my purpose, is to teach them the moral of the story. And then we had to break it down again. Okay, well, what's the moral of the story? I'm timeless. Don't mess. You tried to mess with my timelessness. And now I get to teach you the moral of the story, that I was smarter than all of you. And, like, you should have never decided that I wasn't timeless. And, yeah, that's the lesson. And we said, there's not a lot of historical, even in movies, there's not a lot, that's not a successful thing. And she goes, well, whatever, like, that's what we're going to do. That's what I want. That's what I'm going to do. And then, so then it took a while. And then again, two things happened at the same time, which I'm going to tell you separately. One was, we said, well, what if we kind of was like, what do you really want? Do you want to teach them a moral, or do you want to be timeless? Do you want to be remembered forever in a positive way? And I think part of this was seeing the little girl holding the sock puppet cat. Or do you want to teach them the moral of the story? And then I think Boyd said, the best teaching of the moral, if you want to be the teacher of the moral story, but realizing you don't need to be the teacher of the moral story. Like Boyd said this, like his uncle said it once, or his aunt, the best way to teach the moral of the story without teaching it directly is living well. And she didn't respond to that. And we said, okay, so what if you could be timeless? And so then another theory we had during all this was like, what if a movie on loop, like now that we realized we could change something in the movie, was like some sort of time, like contained time travel, right? We could put her back in the movie at any point. And because we accidentally put the cat back in the movie, that was the first time, at the right time, it changed the movie. It didn't change the outcome. But so we had these two theories. Like, if she goes in the movie in a way that is like with a different intention, and like we figure out, so we decided, like, again, to work on her design to be more like the sock puppet, right? Like, if we get them both in there together as a duo, what would the little girl do? What would the people do? Like, she just wants some, like, so we kind of got some paint. We ran some errands. And she was like, well, what's the plan? And we said, okay, we're going to put you back in the movie. You're going to be timeless. Like, you'll be remembered positively forever. Because when you try to teach the moral of the story, it fails. We're trying to help you. Because she was, again, focused on just teaching the moral of the story, and that would create her timelessness. I mean, this is heady stuff. Maybe we were overthinking it. I don't know. But so we made her as much look like the sock puppet cat as we could. And then we said, okay, so we're going to put you back in towards the beginning of the movie in your, like, place. Like, we're going to try to get you in where there's a scene where the thing opens and the camera pans to the professor's sleeping, and then eventually the professor hears the creak and turns and sees you. So we're going to do that. Like, we're going to put you in then, because right now it's empty anyway. And we had tried to put you in there before, but then you had a different intention. She said, so what's my intention now? And we're like, just to be timeless. You be your essence now. You and your cat together have a timelessness. And if you don't try to, like, we don't know. This is just a theory. Basically, we're just trying to come up with this on the fly. And she said, okay, but she said, I don't think I could do it without something of value, like, and we said, what do you mean? And she said, something of true value. Like, she goes, because, this part of this process is like bringing things, it's always about bringing things from one world into another world. And she said, I had jars of things that then in the movie they discover, are parts of the ways to unlock, turn on my lamps and stuff. So she goes, I need to bring stuff of real value with me into and then return. And then I think it'll work out. And we go, well, wait, okay. Like, first we just saw we were entertained. Okay, yeah, something of real value. Like, we thought, like, a smile on the inside or whatever. And so we said, okay, well, these socks are pretty valuable. Would you want our samurai sword? I don't know, I got $10. She goes, no, you have these containers of value. I've heard you talking about them. Containers of value. She goes, the jars of the valuable concentrate of goods. Whoa. You want to bring the Julius J. juice into the movie with you. Oh, is that what it is? Yes, your jars of valuable juice, the doctor's juice. I want to bring that. And then we kind of felt like, okay, we got to say yes to this, because it was like, okay, we are being observed, right, by whoever's running this game. And they've caught us taking the juice. So at first, I was a little embarrassed. I said, yeah, it's fine. Okay, great. Also, there was like tons of other juice back at the juice place. We only had a few cases. So then we enacted the plan. Now, you might be asking, like, how is any of this possible, right? And again, I think it's a little bit foggy with time, but it did seem real. And I think there was a part of me and a part of each one of us that knew something else was at play. But it was also, like, at the time, I think it was easy for us not to notice that, because it was just so cool to be a part of something so cool. And even getting called out by whoever was running the game, it was kind of like, okay, well, I guess we got to do this. Like, so then so then it took a little bit of work, right? Because we had to load everything. Luckily back then the theaters did have a stage, so we load everything on the stage. We wait for the movie to get to the moment, and then we like basically put everything on the pallet jack, and like we kind of were like, okay, on 3, we'll just push it all into the movie. And that's where things got beyond interesting, I'd say, because we did it right at the time. There was a flash, and then suddenly the movie changed. So we thought we had won, right? Because the movie became an animated, in color commercial, like for like a breakfast cereal. And at first, luckily, it was looping over and over and over again. Otherwise, we wouldn't have noticed it at first, because it was such a change in tone and volume. This high energy commercial starts where the mommy is a part of an advertisement for a breakfast cereal featuring her and a new cereal. Which sounds so weird, because it's like just supposed to have the flavor of tropical juices, including the official, like, Dr. Julius J. Juice, who is in the commercial, the professor sleeping as Dr. Julius J. Juice. And also weird, like, I can't remember, Mommy Malo was her name in the thing, but it was like a commercial for a breakfast cereal. Mommy Mallows, was that what it was called? With Dr. Julius J. Juice. So, like, it was an advertisement for that cereal, new cereal, part of the line of famous cereals. But Mommy Mallows, with Dr. Julius J. Juice on the inside, which I still don't, so, like, the idea, like I said even before, that Boyd could sell this concentrate, and it was like creamy orange juice. But Because it was maybe a momsicle? I don't know. Like a orange dreamsicle type flavor, I think is like what they were going for with the cereal, but with tropical flavors. So then the commercials, so she's gone, the cat's gone, the puppet's gone, the cat's gone, the juice is gone. Now, again, there was a big flash. So we said, okay, that's how they're doing the stage, like the magic. So at this point, we just sat down watching the commercial over and over and over. But we were also tired because, a lot of time had passed. And we were kind of waiting to be rewarded, right? Like that someone was going to come and tell us we had figured out the puzzle and we had won. But we all just sat there. And these were back when these were these like plush velvet movie theater seats. And we were in the front row. We had plenty of leg space. We were just sitting there, the four of us. And eventually we just drifted off to sleep with this commercial playing over and over again. Oh, Mommy Mallow, I've finally made my greatest discovery. It's me, Dr. Julius J. Juice. Blah, 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 blah. You've seen the commercials before. So I don't know if we all separately dreamed of Mommy Mallow and sock puppets in the mall. But we got a good while of sleep there, sinking into those chairs so comfortable. Maybe I'll come back and tell you more later. Good night. I just want to thank everybody who signed up for the referral program recently, which is 100% free to sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. Probably heard me talk about it before, but just in case, because I always get questions about stuff like this. And you get a link from the company that runs our referral program, and you share that link on social media or an email or whatever. And when people use that link to listen to and then sign up to listen to the free podcast, the free ad-supported show, you get, you earn referrals, right? And we give free access to Sleep With Me Plus ad-free episodes and story-only episodes to be able to get, if you get 3 referrals, you get 3 months, 6 referrals, 6 months, and on and on and on from there. There's also other cool stuff in there, but also you're already probably sharing about the show, and I really appreciate it. So, yeah, so I wanted to thank Kathleen, Rochelle, who else we got here? Carol, Rose, Cassie, Heather, Tiffany, Tindra. Who else we got in here? Jay. Who else we have here? Lorraine, Julie, Lydia. Keep going through here slowly. Aiden. Thanks, Aiden. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks, Donna. Some of these are a couple months ago, but just in case we missed anybody. But yeah, thanks for everybody for signing up, for supporting the show, for spreading the word about the show. I couldn't do it without you or support the show directly on Sleep With Me Plus. You were a patron in the past, or you support the sponsors. Let me know so I can say thank you. And here's maybe Scoots with a Tuck You In sponsor. Thanks and good night, everybody.
This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.